it's me again, and I'm back with a very dear friend of mine who, let's say, has just said to me, are we allowed to swear? So let's see what's going to happen in this episode. This is my gorgeous friend Toni Newman from Toni+Co. And we first met, gosh, a really long time ago, wasn't it? How long ago was it?
I'm going to say 13 years maybe.
Right. Oh, I thought it was a bit longer than that. I feel like I've known you for bloody ever. It doesn't matter. When I first met Toni, she was working as a stylist in photography studios and on TV commercials and all sorts of things. And I thought it'd be fabulous to talk to her today for people out there that are wondering whether it's okay to shift and diversify within their field. And I think Toni's a really good example of that, because she sort of started out as one thing and then saw a hole and did that, and then saw something else and did that, and now you've really finally found your niche, haven't you?
Yes, I feel like I've kind of grown into myself.
Grown into yourself, and that's beautiful. And the second book I wrote, which was called Leap Into Your Creative Life, was exactly like someone like Toni, who has just got all this creativity oozing, has always helped people with their fashion sense on photo shoots and then fashion parades, but also had this whole other world. So could you tell us your journey from woe to now? Go.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think that, yes, I feel like I've hit my stride. I've found my thing now in my midlife, which is kind of nice. Did I think that I would ever end up here? Absolutely not, because I didn't really know. I didn't go to uni. I went straight from school. Well, no, I went straight. It was never on the cards that I would go to university, because I was studying at school to be a secretary. I just can't even believe that. So that was what I thought I was going to do in life. I thought I was going to be a secretary.
Well, it sort of makes sense, because secretaries or PAs or assistants, they're super organised, and you have that in abundance, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do think I do. Yes, I do. So I thought, right, typing, shorthand, all of that sort of stuff, finish school, study that, and then I got a job in a law firm. Can you imagine me at a law firm?
No. Let me just do that.
No. It was terrible, but I stayed there for 2 years.
And did you learn anything?
Well, I used to do rounds. So I used to...
Sandwich rounds?
What do you mean rounds? All the clerks, all the law clerks used to go around all the what are those things called?
To the barristers' chambers?
Yes, all of that sort of stuff, and all the courts, and we used to go and file documents and do all that sort of stuff. So I'd just be, that was the highlight of my day, getting out of the boring office and actually smoking on my way with my little briefcase and going to talk to all these people and seeing, looking at the buildings and what was inside the buildings, and not really caring about what documentation.
The actual job was.
That is exactly right. Mm-hmm. And so that is...
And how did that go for you?
I don't know. I stayed there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I learnt. I think I learnt that I really hate being in an office in that kind of environment. It was
that in itself's a really big thing, isn't it? Because I talk to so many people about, I want to be outdoors, or I love the idea of working with people all the time. So everything that you do, whether it's positive or negative, you do learn something. So in fact, you did learn that. So that's fantastic. So what happened then? That's
exactly right. So I then decided that I needed to move on. And then I had about 53 other jobs. little, like there was hospitality, there was some temping jobs, there were all sorts of things. I worked it was 3 hours I worked in the credit department.
3 hours?
It was 3 hours. I went home for lunch and I never came back. So again, learning. Again, that's not really me. It wasn't really my thing.
Did they send the police looking for you, or they just didn't give a shit?
No, I don't think they gave a shit, really.
Okay.
I'm not going back.
What not to do?
And so I kind of sort of found my way into the advertising industry by fluke, by absolute fluke. I answered, back in the olden days, I was reading the paper and answered an ad in the paper, and it was just a receptionist ad. And I thought, I can be a receptionist somewhere. It didn't even say that it was in the advertising industry. It was just a receptionist job. And I went for it, and it was at Leo Burnett's, Robertson Leo Burnett's in Adelaide. And fuck knows how I got it, but I just got it. And then I went, oh, here I am, the receptionist at this advertising agency. What is advertising? And I got to sit there and do all the scrapbooking, the tear sheets for all the Woolworths ads, and watch and see what everybody else did in this, amazing place. Because back in those days, the advertising agencies were,
booming.
Lots
of fun.
Booming and lots of fun. And so
everyone worked 5 days a week in-house.
That's exactly right. And I got to understand what the producer did. And I thought, that's actually what I would like to do. And before...
So how old are we at this point? You're still a babe?
Oh yeah, I'm still a babe. I was early 20s, maybe, early 20s.
Okay.
And I stayed there. I went, yep, production, sure. And we went to the Art Directors Awards in Adelaide. And my girlfriend, who was working at Leo's at the time as well, she was an art director, and she said, come and meet this guy. He's amazing. He's got a recording studio. Mm-hmm. And I went, what's a recording studio? Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, they do the ads for TV and radio.
Yep.
And you should go and work for him as a producer.
Wow, we love her.
And I went, what? Okay, sure, why not? So anyway, we talked all night at the awards, and he said, yeah, call me tomorrow. I need to get the position filled really quickly. I rang him the next day. He had no recollection of talking to me, because everyone's absolutely blind at these award nights. And I went, okay, but anyway, I'm just going to come in. So that was another thing. You just have to be pushy and go, no, I'm coming in anyway.
Pushy in a really nice way. And we did have this conversation, and that's how I've got your phone number.
Yeah, and I'll come in. I'll come in.
Love that.
Anyway, so cut a long story short, I did get the job as an audio producer at a recording studio in Adelaide, and I loved it. It was amazing. So not visual, of course. It was all, audio. But I got to meet a lot of amazing people that came through. And again, the production was really calling me, but in a visual way.
So what this is screaming to me, which is what I'm talking about all the time, especially to young people coming through the industry, is it's about network, isn't it?
So much network.
Your whole thing has been about network.
Yeah, because I certainly wasn't the best person for the job or the most experienced, but it was because I had these people that I'd got to know at an agency who said, you should do it, who then really encouraged me to do it, taught me about, DAT tapes and quarter-inch tapes and all that sort of stuff back in the old days.
Okay, now you're really ageing yourself.
I know.
But with the network, what we talk about also is you might not have all the skills, as you said, that they thought that they wanted, but you had something that they saw in you. Right? And that would have been a personality, the ability to get on with people, the fact that you had done reception, you were organised, you didn't mind picking up the phone. So it's never just about your work, it's about who you are. We're buying you, right?
That's exactly what it is. And that is, way back then, that was true, and all the way now. I mean, even, I know we'll jump back to it, but even when people come to see me, I don't necessarily look at their CV, because there are a lot of very wonderful CVs out there, and people have studied a lot, but I need to know, who are you as a person? Do you think outside the square? Do you think creatively? Do you, come back to me with solutions, not, I don't know how to do it.
Problems.
Because, not problems. So, it was all about that. It was just saying, yep, I can do this. I will learn how to do this. And I'm a very visual learner anyway. I'm very terrible at reading instructions.
Oh, same.
So, this is coming, I think. So yes, so that was that, and I really loved it. I loved working for Nick. We used to work in this beautiful big old church in Adelaide. It was lies. It was a theology college.
Oh right.
It was amazing, and so there was
similarity church theology. I get it.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful place to work, and I loved it, and it let me sort of, you know, again meet people, network. You know, suck up all of the stuff that I could possibly, you know, need for my journey on. And then I decided that I actually did need something more visual, not just audio. And so I left there without a job and decided that I was going to work on film and TV shoots. And I would just give myself to people to say, what can I do? And you know, rightly or wrongly, I did a lot of freebie jobs because, you know, I would just ring up all the producers and say, I'll be your runner, I'll buy the coffee, I'll, you know, drive the vans, I don't care what I do, I just want to learn.
And network and be around people.
Yeah, and network and be around people. And that is the thing. It is really going back to that. You have to be fearless in a sense that you have to be open and available and
not too precious.
And really not too precious.
Yeah, and we need toilet paper now.
Yeah, now. Not, oh, I can't do that, or where's the shop, or what. You just have to.
I don't buy toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anything. That needs to be cleaned up. Someone's done a baby's sick over there, that's fine, I'll do it. And like doing it before you, you know, ask to do it.
Has anyone cleaned up? No, I've already done that.
Yeah. And that's how people notice you.
100%.
You know, are you that person that becomes so crucial that even though you might not have all of the actual skills to be a what, you will work it out. And I think that's really, really important.
I remember meeting a photographer once, and they told me that their very first job, they were just an assistant and just hanging out in the studio. They couldn't afford to pay them. And all the guys went out for lunch, and she was left in the studio, and she said, I didn't have anything to do. So she said, I cleaned the kitchen, I cleaned the bathroom, I put everything, I reorganised away, and the owner came back in and just started yelling, who the hell's done this? And she said, well, I did. Am I in trouble? And he goes, no, but you've got a job.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah. Yes.
So she said, I was bored, so I cleaned. That's what I do. So I think that's a really good example of it. So I love that for you. And then how did you end up leaving Adelaide? Like, because you were so entrenched there. What was the...
Oh, so entrenched. Well, I ended up then working for a couple of different photographers and a director. So I started doing... That's when I started working on styling. Getting, you know, dressing houses that we were going to shoot in and dressing people as well because there was no budget, working for lots of different people. Then I was at the time going out with a guy who moved to Melbourne, and I moved to Melbourne, and, you know, a minute later we were all over, but I was in Melbourne and that was so great. So I was sort of all alone, and I went, oh my God, what am I going to do? And it was sink or swim. And it really was. You know, I didn't know I knew one person here, and I thought, fuck it, I'm not going back to Adelaide. I love Melbourne. I'm going to work it out. And so I, again, just, you know, did we have mobile phones back then? Yes, I think yes. But I would write and send people, you know, I want to do this, and just literally go and knock on doors. So again, you have to be. I felt like I had to just. Yeah. Do it. Just
and
go.
You did, and you didn't wait for jobs to come up. You were just putting yourself out there and
make your own energy. You know, like you just got to keep going and keep going. And there's lots of, you know, I guess, failure, and not in a bad way, to get successful. I think.
Yeah, because every person you knock on the door, and every person that has a chat with you, even if there's no job, they'll remember you.
Yeah, that's right.
And then a week later it might be, well, who was that girl that came in the other day? And so, yeah.
So anyway, so I got into then casting. So I fluked, was that the first one? Casting consultant? Yes, that is correct. And again, I'd never had casting consultant experience in a,
it's hard to say.
You know, in a studio, but again, I just went, yeah, I can do that. So I did that, and then I moved on to working at the MADC. So I did all those awards, and then eventually I landed at Clemenger.
What a place to land.
I know. Well, Clemenger proximity. Mm-hmm. So we were the...
Doesn't matter.
We were through the line. Let's call it through the line. So I was the production coordinator there and loved it. So again, networking, and I still, talk to those people now. That's where I went. So Bruce Williams was my boss there.
Yeah. Bruce and I went to school together, and recently did a conversation with Bruce as well that you can see
you?
on the website.
Oh my God, I just need to see that.
Yeah.
And it was Ace. Ace working there, loved working in an agency, stayed there a couple of years, made redundant on the same day we left, and this is how long ago it was, we lost Origin, and 6 of us left that day and got given a cheque from a checkbook. So bye-bye, and I went, fuck, what am I going to do? And so...
It's a reoccurring theme. But
yes.
you look, typical Scorpio, you go down for a minute, you go down hard, and then you go bang, here we go.
That's right. That is...
We are so the same person.
Yeah, I feel like we are.
We are.
So I thought, okay, I have to get out there and go and do something. And I got some cards done. I got some... Did I even have a folio? I kind of just sort of, cobbled together stuff. And then I hit the ground and went to everybody that I'd met through Clemenger, mm-hmm. every photographer, every stylist, every person out there that I'd ever met. I let them know that I was available as a freelance. And I did say production person, producer, stylist. I kind of was very broad. I literally do fucking anything, as long as you will, engage me and pay me. And that's what I did. And so I then set up my own production company, and that was going for about 25 years. And so it just snowballed. And
that's when we met during that time.
Correct. Yeah. That is correct. So I started out producing stills and styling as well, doing the wardrobe, doing the locations, all that sort of stuff. So very much a creative producer, but very much into the details and all that kind of stuff. And I really loved it. I loved it for that long. But then, and so I would do sort of fashion and cars and, really big shoots. And they came out from Nike came out from New York. And again, because I had networked and worked in an agency doing their awards for a week, I put together all of their awards, which is so boring. But the guy that was working there remembered who I was and got a call from some guy in New York that needed a producer on the ground. So I ended up producing this huge shoot with all these Olympians coming out, and we were shooting all around Melbourne. And this is somebody who hasn't had formal training as a stylist, as a producer, as anything. I learn on the job. And I think that is, visual learner, ask a heap of questions, network, treat everybody the same.
And also do a really good job.
Yeah, be very thorough and just...
Because you do one crap job and that's it. But you must have been doing something a hell of a lot right all the way through for people to continue to, want to pass your name on, and that's huge. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. No, and I loved it. It was an ace job, and I think because I had a child during that time, and it was. It was great to be a freelance producer, to then sort of work all those wacky hours and still be there with Jack and still go to his school stuff and do all that sort of stuff. And that is such a wonderful thing for creatives to have that ability, or for anybody to have that ability, but it all comes down to really good time management as well. Yeah. Which is, it's never, as I said earlier on, it's never just one thing, isn't it? It's about being a great person, it's being good at your job, it's about time management. Yeah. It's also about understanding how to say no, which I know throughout both of our careers we've been pretty crap at doing, because we want to do everything and help everyone but we get better at it. But especially if you're stopping to have a family, no, it's family time, or no, I can't do that. But people will wait. You know, we're not saving lives, are they? And if they can't wait, well, they'll move on, but they'll come back if you keep in touch. And that whole networking scenario, which is how you've built your entire career.
It is. It's, you know, I guess hearing it like that is really making me think it really, actually, that's right up there. That's almost the number one, because when you're not, when you're just going in to try and get work, you need to be able to just have all these people remembering you. So it's up to you to keep yourself in their face and keep sending things and keep sending emails and calling them. And
so it's that fine line between stalking and keeping in touch. And I meet so many people that go, well, look, I did ring such and such and they never got back to me. Well, did you follow it up? Did you do another email? Did you? No, well, I've already rung them. Well, one is not enough. I know with me, sometimes I'm driving and I get a text and I might quickly, illegally look at it.
When you've parked.
When I've parked or at the traffic lights.
Yes.
And most of the time I'll remember, but there's like 1 in every 10 times where I don't. And then somebody will ring me the next week and say, did you actually get that text? And I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I was driving, I did get it. So if people don't respond, you would like to think that they're not being rude and ghosting you. You would like to think that they saw it at a time when they were busy, or maybe it went into spam, or who knows. So a gentle reminder, which is what, you know, we're both incredibly good at.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, like when I was, you know, deep in production, and I would be pulling together crew for different whatever, you know, and I used to produce all over, where are we? Australia as well. You know, the person that would pick up their phone, so I need a, I don't know, makeup artist, and I need to ring, not answering, okay, next person, you just keep going. Or the person that would ring or keep in touch with me was at the forefront of my mind, because
100%.
you know, I'm organising a shoot with 64 people on it. I'm down to the, you know, or maybe 2 or 3 shoots at the same time. So it is that person that does, you know,
it's got to be in the forefront of your mind, isn't it, when we're pulling things together? They've got to be great at what they do, but you know, I feel like that, because a lot of people obviously will come to me for photography, and wedding photography is not really something that I do. I touch on it and I'm happy to work with wedding photographers, no problem. But if somebody rings up and I think, oh, wedding photography, because it's not like my everyday. But if there's been somebody, I can think of someone now that's always sending me a newsletter and commenting on my, and I think, oh, I'm going to, I know a wedding photographer. So, okay, so then what happens?
So then I get to a point in my life where I think, I'd started to sort of do help friends and family with homes. So, you know, decorating, styling, cushions, making it all look a bit fabulous. And we moved as well. And so we renovated, and my husband was away for a lot of it, the prior.
How convenient.
And I mean, he was actually in Kokoda, but I mean, whatever. But it was great because he did the Kokoda track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we went away. I know. Anyhow, so we did all that, moved in, and then we had this house, and I was doing it up, and I was sort of helping other people, and thinking, do you know what? I really love this. I really loved doing these big shoots, but the thing was, I didn't feel like I was actually changing anybody's life with being a great producer and, you know, doing all these wonderful campaigns. I felt like I reached a point in my life where I needed to feel like I was making a difference to a person, you know. And so, and when you come into someone's home, or you know, remake, you know, help them look at themselves differently or enjoy their space differently, that makes a difference to me.
Oh, 100%. And it was at that time when we were building our beach house. Before we'd bought the block of land, before even building the beach house, we went to you with the original plans. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Of course you do.
Yes.
And Toni was amazing, because we had the plans and they were great, but there was this sort of weird thing going on from the entrance hall into the bathroom, into the garage. And it was quite complicated, and you just went, no, and just got a pencil and said, we're going to make that big, and you're just going to have a door, go in there and forget the steps, and we're going to do dip, 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 dip. And Martin and I were like, oh God, that's so much better. So when we spoke to the architect and the draftsman, you know, he was like, what's going on? And then he was like, well, actually, no, that works a whole lot better. And then when it came, I have to say from my own personal experience, when it came to selecting the right white, I mean, how many bloody whites are there? How many whites to paint?
Like infinity.
And the, what's it called in the kitchen? The tops, the bench tops in the bathrooms and the kitchens and the stone and the blah, blah, blah. You were amazing. And we'd go over to your place and you'd show us tile samples and this samples, and then we go down to South Melbourne and go into the Laminex place, or what was it, Laminex?
No, Polytech.
Sorry, Polytech.
Polytech lines.
And just to have someone like, what was great for me was because I'm very creative and I have a real vision about what I wanted.
Yes, you do.
But what you were able to do was supply me with the people that could give me what my vision was, as opposed to somebody that knew nothing. So you're really good at working with someone like me that knew what I wanted. We worked so well together, and we went down the beach for a weekend and we paced things out, and, you know, I am a fridge.
Yeah, so you can get that sort of, you know, idea of space.
I am a table, you know.
Oh, yes.
We did all of that. And Toni was great. We got the masking tape on. I'm a toilet. We got masking tape on the floor, and it was like, right, you need a table this size. And,
and the rug and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And that was really great, because just knowing the size of the table that we needed, because we live in a small house in Melbourne, and this house was twice the size. So I'd only ever kind of thought about small furniture.
Yeah.
So when I went shopping, I knew I needed a couch that was a particular size, and so you were just fantastic at doing that and helping me with just setting the colours up, and then everything else I sort of did. But then I'd run things by you going, oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Well, I think that's the...
I just made that about me then, but it was actually about working with Toni. So.
No, well, I think this is a really important thing, because, you know, even though I started out just doing cushions and a bit of decorating and styling, you know, skip forward 9 years and I'm doing, you know, interior design, which is, you know, quite different from just decorating and just styling. There is that whole spatial planning, there's drawings, there's cabinetry design, there's a whole layer.
And there's colour and there's everything, isn't there? So many layers. But it's also dealing so well with the tradies, and we loved the tradies so much that when we decided to redo here again, I rang the tradies down there, and everyone came up from the beach, and we did the kitchen here together. And you know, we didn't reinvent the wheel here either, because I'd already had the tiles. But then but that was the hero tile. It was all about that Moroccan beautiful kind of colour. That's very, I mean, you know, it's a visual feast here. There's so much beautiful colour to look at, and that is what you are. And I think, you know, going back to what I was sort of saying before, is that every client is so different. And you're a client that, you know, you do have a very good sense of colour, proportion, scale, all that sort of stuff, which is what, you know, we really help our clients with. But you had much more of an idea of what you wanted. You just needed help executing it. You didn't need, you know, we do everything from answering every single question right from a new build to not. You didn't need that much, but you needed enough to be able to then go out and look at the tiles for yourself, you know, but look at the terrazzo tile, not just a plain grey tile, which is what you thought you might need. And it was lovely to be able to show you that. And I think you said, no fucking way first. But then you looked, I think you did. But then you looked at it and went, actually, you are right. And then all of your little, you know, your ideas came together, and that was it. And that's really nice to be able to do that, to be able to help someone who, you know, is so creative and has a great sense of style anyway, and not take over. Like, my job's never to take over unless you need it. And that's what I loved about it. And in reverse of that, I'd just like to talk about now. So you now have Toni+Co.
Yes.
And so Toni+Co is all about working in the building industry.
Yes.
So can you take us through maybe a project where somebody didn't have as much kind of knowledge as I did, and from woe to go.
Okay, so...
And you've got 3 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay, so we have lots of renovations. A new build that comes to mind is they really didn't know at all what they wanted to do. They'd done their plans. We came in, of course, and went red pen, changed that spatial planning. How's this all going to actually work with the furniture in it? So a lot of building designers and architects won't have that information, whereas we come at, you know, an interior designer will come at it from a different way. So we did that. We worked out with the client what they actually wanted their spaces to be for them, and you knew what you wanted, but they didn't. So we spent a lot of time doing that. We spent time actually helping them understand what does homely mean, what does relaxed mean, what does luxurious mean, because they wanted all of that, but they didn't know what that actually meant and looked like. So we spent lots of time on concept boards, mood boards, and then starting to pull it together. We bought all of their appliances. We designed the cabinetry. We picked all the colours, materials, tiles, and this is a three-story custom luxury build home. So it was a massive job, which is only kind of just finished, and we'll
be able to see that on your website soon.
You will, probably in about February. We finished doing the furniture, because some of the furniture was custom made as well. But, you know, lighting plans, artwork, everything. So it's not just the end result, it is all of that
with
stuff.
Someone else's credit card.
Yes.
Do they talk to you about budget?
Absolutely, that's critical.
Yep.
And also but liaising with, I mean, I don't project manage so much. That's another whole level, especially when you're doing a new build or a renovation. But what we do is we liaise and work with the trades very closely, or with the architect, with the builder, with any of the trades to go, okay, technically what can we do? Then I'll make it look good. You know, what can we, you know, if we're going to custom colour a floor, I want to know, of course I will do the colour, but I want to know how that's going to all work with, you know, this room, or, you know, so we rely on
I'm smiling because I remember, because we actually decided to build a house during COVID, which was kind of interesting. And so we had the builder pouring the concrete, because we've got a concrete slab, and we're asking him to film it. The first thing was that he had the camera turned around the wrong way and was filming his crutch. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And we're going, turn it around. And then Tony's going, I want to know what colour the concrete is. And he's going, it's concrete colour. And she's going, is it blue? Is it warm? Is it cold? And he's going, it's fucking concrete, you know. So in the end, I just went, doesn't matter. And we both said, let's just wait and see what it is. Then we'll go down when the ring of stills, and then we'll work around that. So we had to work around concrete because, you know, they don't kind of get the different nuances of the colours of the concrete.
And
Wasn't that hilarious?
They do their thing.
Concrete.
We do our thing. We look at it differently. I remember that. So
you do these big luxury builds. You also do office buildings, shops.
Yes.
You did a baker's, didn't you? A bakery?
Yes, we did a bakery. We've done a gelato store. We have done a yoga studio. We've done lots of commercial space. I did L'Oreal head office, which was really nice, before they did the massive revamp. But what I'm trying to say here is, I think I've said it quite eloquently, is there is no job too big or too small for Toni+Co, is there? No, that is correct. But we do everything. Well, no, we do everything. So if you need if you need us to look over your building plans, or you need us to do the fixtures and fitting schedule, if you need us to create a whole new look and feel completely, we do that. We do mood boards, we do custom furniture. The other thing that you do, I put you in touch with a girlfriend of mine who has moved into the city from a big family home into an apartment in the city. And they had pretty much everything sorted out, except there was just one space that they couldn't work out. So you just went in and did that one space, didn't you? Yeah, and I love doing that sort of stuff. That was very much decorating. We couldn't paint, we couldn't put pull paper in or do anything, and that was very much furnishings and adding layer, texture, colour. And so we do that sort of stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And I love that sort of stuff.
And
That's
so,
a quicker turnaround.
So you don't have to just save Toni+Co for a huge rebuild or a huge whatever. You can really just come in and just change a space.
Oh, absolutely. We do a lot of bedroom revamps, which is wonderful because that's a shorter term thing. Sometimes we might repaint or do different floors or something like that, but a lot of it is furniture and reconfiguring furniture and adding light and things like that.
I've seen it and it's amazing. And so if somebody who's watching this might be there going, gosh, this could be exactly what I need. I've got this fantastic wallpaper I bought when I was in Spain. Would you work with their wallpaper?
Absolutely. We start off with a core ingredient. If that's what it is, love it.
Or it might be an amazing couch that we've got and we need it reupholstered and we don't know. And could you help them find the reupholster?
Yes, we work with lots of, we've got a very core group of furniture makers, reupholsterers,
painters. I know you
painters. We've got lots of trades that we work with, but we often work with the client's trade.
That's really good to know too.
But we've got lots of suppliers that we now can, rugs and things like that aren't just your typical retail people. We have, we go directly to manufacturers and that's how we can pass on our best trade prices to clients. Flooring, we do custom colour flooring with a particular client now. So the business has expanded and that is because I always say yes to everything and then work it out later, and get you involved as well, the Brownbill effect, to, help me with staff even, being able to, I don't like being the hands-on person that is doing the 3D renders. That is a waste of my time. I'm big picture concept. I'll hand draw it and I'll go do that. These are the colours. They'll put it into SketchUp or Revit or whatever it might be, and then I'll look at it and go, no, change that, move that, move that, move that. Okay, great. So, and then they can do it in an nth of a time that would take me to do. So I do schedules myself, which is, I don't love that, but it's all of that, pulling together the right people to support me to be able to do the thing that I do best.
And what I love about it too is that you will work to a budget, and I think you're as honest as the day is long. And if somebody came to you and said, we want to do A, B, C and D and we've got this much money, you would be there going, right, well that's not going to happen. You could probably do A and D with that.
Yes, correct.
If you want B and C, let's do it in stages. And I think that's certainly what we've done here. After we did the house and then we wanted to renovate this kitchen, well, I've got the bathroom, but I've decided to go to the Greek Islands instead that year. But the bathroom's on hold, but we can do things in stages. Okay?
Yeah, so, absolutely. I think it's worth mentioning, every time before we start or take on a big project, we always start with a consultation. So it's a 2-hour consult that starts before I actually get on site or on the video, and I get to go through plans, drawings, I see their Pinterest pages, photos of the space, and sometimes that's all the person needs. They don't need to engage us after the consult. I turn up knowing I bring some samples often and I go, right, you need to change your floor that colour because of that. Move that there, do that. That needs texture. You need some plants here and and if you want to change that bathroom, then that's going to cost more if you try and move that there and we move So I'll come really armed to the teeth with ideas. They run around writing notes. We'll physically move things. And then after that, they can go and execute it themselves. They don't need to engage us. Often people do because they don't have the creative flair. They don't know how to execute that, or they simply don't have time to do it. And they go, we just want you to do it. Then I'll quote up and then we might do the job. But we do I do lots of consults where it is just helping that person move forward with ideas, creative and practical ideas, which is what I love.
And you're a bloody legend, I tell you.
Oh, shut up,
in your own lunchbox.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Oh, you are.
You are.
What's your website?
toniandco.com.au.
And is it TONIANDCO?
Correct, .com.au.
Yeah, so TONIANDCO toni.com.au.
That is correct.
Toni+Co.
Yes.
You can also find Toni+Co through the Brown Bill Effect. And what we've listened to today is this, amazing journey of somebody that's just a little bit like me, made it up as they've gone along, but listened to their gut and their heart, talked to people, taken opportunities even if they didn't think they could do them. And I think that's what's really inspiring. I feel like today so often we get really wound up with, what do we know, what don't we know, we're not good enough to go for that job. And I certainly know that when I've shown folios or put people up for jobs, they'll come back to me and say things like, oh, there's such a talented designer, they're going to cost way too much. No, they're not. We'll fit into a budget, and just having conversations. I think so often we've lost that art of having a conversation.
Yeah, and keeping that dialogue open, because this is the thing, people think that an interior designer is going to be too expensive. We save you money.
Yeah.
We save you time and money. That'll be guaranteed. Yeah. And we think outside the square.
You can also get great discounts going through. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Trade costs for sure.
Trade.
But I think that's the thing. It's about saying, well, we only have about that much, and I'll say, well, then I think you should do that. If that's what you've got, do that, because that will create the most bang for your buck.
And that's what we did for the with the kitchen. It was bathroom, and it was like no, the kitchen, because this is our biggest space where everyone else comes, and we were having a big party coming up,
that's
and
right.
all that sort of thing. So, well, look, darling, I can't wait to see the continuing of Toni+Co.
Oh yeah, watch out, your next year is going to be huge.
Next year. Well, in fact, this might not go out until next year, so this year will be huge. We're filming this before Christmas in 2025. But anyway, we'll see. We might get it out before the end of the year, but do you know what? No one's looking at my time schedule, so it'll go out when it bloody goes out, right?
Oh, that's fine.
And and happy birthday for tomorrow.
Oh my God, it's my birthday tomorrow, and then in 2 days it's my friend Sal's birthday as well.
So we're fellow Scorps, and a very similar work ethic. I think when we both met each other, we kind of went, well, I either have to hate you or fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Do you think we both thought that?
Yes, and then we just went for about 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's not, nobody came up for air. It was hilarious. So yes, it's work ethic, and it's
also about, we're going to touch on this very briefly because I do have to finish, but it's also about helping each other in business, women helping women in business, or just people helping people in business. So I've always supported Toni, and she has always supported me, and for that I am forever grateful. And I think it's just wonderful when you find people in industry that are true and honest and real. What a wonderful space to end on. And I was trying to outglasses her because her glasses are fantastic, but I keep taking them on and off. Anyway, thank you, my dear friend. That was an air kiss. Do a proper kiss.
No, we can't because of the glasses.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.